Hey fellow garage golfers, rolling here with Garage Golf, where we provide extraordinary golf info for the extraordinary golfer. Today, we're testing out the brand new 2022 AVX golf balls.
Those guys have nice balls.
Those aren't matzo balls.
Give me another ball.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about who this 2022 AVX golf ball is going to be geared towards, because you can say it's sort of a niche market for this golf ball.
You could say that.
I did say that. Would you say that?
Now these are going to be priced around $49.99 a dozen, which is pretty much the exact same price as the Pro V1, which a lot of people consider the king of golf balls, right?
The king!
So why would you go with an AVX? Who is the AVX golf ball geared towards? Well, if you look on Titleist website, and I'll give you some more information on that here in a bit, this is geared for someone who's looking for a little bit longer distance with their irons and possibly driver. It's going to be a lower spinning ball than the Pro V1, but it still has that same feel and spin around the green.
Feels the same.
Of course it does.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to test these side by side here in the studio. Danny and I will both be testing the AVX golf ball side by side with the Pro V1 golf ball as well. We're going to give you numbers. We're going to take shots from 60 yards away.
How could you go that far?
A full wedge shot.
How far was that?
As well as driver shots to give you our data. Then we're going to actually take it out on the golf course as well to give you our experience with real golf course data, give you an idea on how we feel about this new golf ball.
How do you feel about it?
You know, I feel pretty good.
So before we get into the testing, let's talk a little bit about the benefits of the 2022 AVX golf ball. So we're supposed to be looking at increased greenside spin and feel, but also giving us longer distance, less spin with the long irons and the driver, and just an overall general softer feel to this golf ball. So let's test this out, see how it does. And again, we're going to be able to see if we're getting a little bit longer distance with it being a little bit lower spinning versus something like the Pro V1. And for those of you at home, just so you know, this golf ball does come in white and in optic yellow as well.
Oh, yellow.
And one of the new features of this golf ball, 4 less dimples, believe it or not.
4.
Go ahead. We'll go ahead and let you count them. I'll show you a picture of the golf ball.
We don't have a picture?
348 dimples overall in this golf ball. All right, and for testing purposes, we have a brand new box of 2022 AVX golf balls. Titleist did send this to us to review, so we're looking forward to testing it out. I'm gonna go ahead and dump these in our ramp here, which is our auto trough, our brand new setup here at Garage Golf. If you have any questions on what you see here, let me know. We're gonna dump these down in here. They'll automatically go in the trough, right into the ball feeder, and right up through the auto tee up. So again, we're gonna be testing only 2022 AVX golf balls. And when we get to the point where we'll be testing the Pro V1s, I have a sleeve of those as well that we're gonna be testing out for you. Let's go ahead and get started with the 60-yard shots. I'm gonna go through my shots first. We'll bring Danny in, go through his shots, go over the numbers with you and give you an idea. Now, myself, I'm a little bit more of a slower swing speed, and I tend to see less spin on my golf balls. I don't compress the ball enough. I'm a mid-handicap golfer, about 15 handicap or so. So let's see what kind of data I get versus somebody like Danny, who's a little bit lower handicap, faster swing speed, something about 110, 115 with his driver. I'm curious to see how that affects his spin as well for you guys at home. All right, so we're gonna start with the pitching wedge, hitting 60-yard shots with both the AVX and the Pro V1s. Then we'll move up to a full pitching wedge shot, and then we'll move on to the driver from there. Let's go ahead and start the shots. There'll be about 5 shots total with each club, with each golf ball as well. Hot. That one came in a little hot. See what kind of spin we get there. All right, that's 5 shots down. We're gonna be moving on to the Pro V1 golf ball, testing side by side with the AVX. Up first is the AVX golf ball from 115 using a pitching wedge. First up with the driver is going to be the AVX golf ball. All right, so jumping into my numbers first, you're gonna see the 60-yard shot on the very top. We'll go over those two first. I'll try to jump through this as quickly as I can, but one of the things that stood out to me was the total backspin with the Pro V1 was 45.77, with the AVX was 39.69. So we're seeing almost 600, if not a little bit more, RPM difference there. So that's kind of what stands out to me on that line. Everything else is relatively pretty close, and you saw the shots, some of the shots on video as well. If we go into the full pitching wedge shot, I know it says driver, but this is actually my pitching wedge shots here. Distance, total carry 109.6 versus 112.1 with the Pro V1, 110 and 113.2 with the AVX. Looking at spin numbers, 78.59 backspin with the Pro V1, 64.98 with the AVX. That's a big difference there on an actual full short game wedge shot. So I'm seeing a lot more spin with that Pro V1 than I am seeing with the AVX. And if we look at launch angle, 30.2 versus 31.8, so the AVX was going higher. And apex as well, 91.6 for the AVX and 87.3 with the Pro V1. So the launch angle was higher with the AVX and the actual apex was higher, but my spin number overall was much lower. So that's something that kind of stood out to me in regards to that. Moving on to the driver, very similar distances, 212, 236.8 with the Pro V1, 213.2 carry, 235.5 with the AVX. This is where I saw the number kind of differentiate a little bit. 2022 was my total spin number with the Pro V1 versus 2234 with the AVX. So my spin was actually higher, and the AVX is supposed to be geared towards lower spin off of, say, the driver and a long iron, but I actually saw the difference there with the actual Pro V1 being lower. Launch angle is almost identical, 14.7 versus 14.8. And apex, again, higher with the AVX at 77.5 versus 72.2. So my average driver speed is around 92. Let's check Danny's numbers and see how his numbers differentiated from what I saw on my end.
All right, so this is Danny, and we're checking out my numbers. I think you're going to see here kind of more of what Titleist is talking about when they're actually advertising the AVX. So first off, we're going to go with the 60-yard pitching wedge half shot here. And as you can see, the biggest difference, I think, is, as they talked about, a high spinning short game, the AVX 47.64 compared to the Pro V1 at 44.16. So that tells me in the short game that the AVX is still giving me that spin with that soft feel. As we move to our full swing pitching wedge shots, distance-wise, roughly the same, 116 and 119 total with the Pro V1 and 118 to 122 with the AVX. But as you can see, that backspin, it's pretty similar. So as you start your full swings in my case, the backspin started to kind of equal out itself. But the apex themselves, there was a little difference here. The AVX was getting a little higher than that Pro V1. But we're about to see that change here in a second. And so when we look at the driver, as Roland talked about, the driver head speed here on mine is roughly about 113 average. The Pro V1 golf ball went about 266 with the 282 total, and the AVX ball is 271 carry with a 293 total. Looks like the AVX ball is going a little further, and the actual spin, it kind of relates to what Titleist is saying on their website, where there's a lower spin rate with that AVX compared to the Pro V1, which is at 30.58 compared to that AVX, which is at 22.15. But you look at that apex, and it looks like the apex for the Pro V1 is at 92 and the AVX is at 77. So what this is telling me is, with the launch angle, which is pretty similar, 9.5 with the Pro V1 and a 9.8 with the AVX, that AVX is staying lower and more penetrating than that Pro V1 golf ball. It could be the swing speed, that the swing speed is a little higher, but it's really telling me that if I'm in the short game area and I have a wedge in my hand and I'm trying to stop the ball on the green, that AVX is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing on that short game, and it's really doing exactly what it's meant to do with the driver at the same time. So these are my numbers. We'll go ahead and get back to some more details. All right, everybody, so we just finished talking about the numbers. Wanted to get a better understanding of what the feel is, and for each one of us, what the ball might be for us.
Yeah, and I think it's important for you at home to get a better feel for which golf ball might be the best fit for your needs between the Pro V1 and the AVX. So we're going to take you to the screen really quick and show you what Titleist recommends for you at home. Okay, so obviously we talked about the difference between AVX and Pro V1 and what it shows on the actual Titleist website, and how we saw how it maybe differed a little bit between my numbers and Danny's numbers. So let's kind of go over that to see which ball may be the best fit for you according to Titleist's website. AVX states that if you're looking for something that has a low flight, a very soft feel, and also low game spin, in other words, off long irons and even potentially driver, but you still want that spin around your short game, then AVX is for you. And Pro V1 would be for someone who wants a mid-flight, who wants a soft feel, but not necessarily very soft, and a mid-game spin with the irons and say something with a driver, and also still have that same gameplay ability around the green. So we saw this to some extent with your shots, I think, right? With your driver anyways, that your spin was definitely lower with the AVX, right?
Yeah.
And on mine, it was actually, my apex was actually higher with the AVX versus what we saw with the Pro V1. So it could be a difference of swing speed with me averaging around 92, Danny averaging closer to 113 with a driver. But just kind of curious, and I wanted to kind of show that to you guys just to kind of give you a feel on how Titleist says this would fit your golf game at home. All right, so interesting to see how Titleist recommends for you at home. And again, I think this is why you obviously have to get fitted for a golf ball like anything else as well. So that's really important. So looking at the numbers, I would say the one thing that kind of stood out to me was the fact that my spin was actually higher on my driver with the AVX, and lower with both this short 60-yard shot and the full pitching wedge shot. And what kind of stood out to you on your shots, Danny?
Yeah, well, the type of golfer I am, I like to hit the ball off the tee as far as I possibly can, and so the flight to me is what drew, stood out the most. With the AVX, you can tell there was a really low penetrating ball flight, with launch angles being pretty similar. So I like to see the ball in the air and carry a little bit more, and so the Titleist Pro V1s felt a little better to me off the driver.
Now, we probably saw a few more Danny's driver shots than my driver shots on video, but I know there's a lot more of you out there that's like me than like Danny. But you know, they look pretty and all. I'm not gonna hate. I'm not gonna hate on your game. But overall, very impressed with the AVX. I'm looking forward to doing some on-course testing with it as well, which me and Danny will be taking the AVX golf ball next out to the golf course. So make sure to check that out. Anything else that we missed, you think, for this video?
No, I mean, honestly, I think the AVX really performed really well against the Pro V1, and it just really depends on your golf game. You know, to me, if I had an AVX and a Pro V1 right next to each other with irons, it's hard to tell the difference, but it's where you can, you know, the higher driver speeds, you can probably see a little bit of a difference there.
And I want to thank Titleist for sending us the AVX golf balls to test, although next time we need to test it with one of your new drivers, so that'll be next, hopefully. We're looking forward to doing that in the future. So let's take it out to the golf course, give you guys a little bit more feedback on the AVX golf ball. All right, so as you see here, Danny and I did get a chance to take this golf ball out to the golf course, and we hit a bunch of different type of shots. You're also going to see some different type of shot tracers as well that we're kind of playing around with, but it responded very well, very quick stops on the green. Driver had a nice penetrating ball flight, didn't get too high up in the air. And again, you're going to see a couple of different shot tracers that I'm trying to mess around with. One of them is an app and one I can draw up by hand. But I like being able to show you guys the shots a little bit, at least kind of give you an idea on where these balls are going. So Danny had a really strong shot here, but went off the back. And I'll give you a little bit more of the video here and audio as well. Nice little shot there. Right next to the green, right next to the flagstick. All right, so overall, really, really good response on the green. As you saw, the golf ball there stopped really near the flag. Hit some more driver shots as well. Hit multiple shots all throughout the day with different clubs. Really good feel of the golf ball, really good response. We saw good spin on the greens as well when we landed on the green in regulation. And overall, very, very happy. Hit a hybrid shot here. Good contact a little left of the green. And you also see Danny here in a moment hit a nice shot that stopped right near the flagstick as well. We also did some putting and some other things I'll show you here in just a second. Here you see some putting that Danny did with the golf ball. Very, very close. Oh, no. So what we're doing here is we're going to line up about 4 shots with Danny to do a spin test with the AVX golf balls. We're about 60 yards away from the flag. He's going to hit 4 shots and see what kind of spin we get on a pretty receptive green, although it is a bit windy today. So nice stop on that one for sure. Nice quick stop. One hop and stop. Comes another one. Really nice stop there too. These are all very receptive, hitting the green and stopping pretty quickly. Good spin to them. Danny strikes the ball relatively well around the green, which is why he's hitting these shots and not me. Here's the last one. Let's see how it does. Really, really good receptive golf ball. All right, so Danny and I have pretty much finished almost a complete round of golf using the AVX golf balls. You've seen a lot of the footage of us testing out here on the course, and we've had a really, really good experience with the golf ball. What were your thoughts, Danny?
Well, I really, really enjoy them, actually. I'm not sure if you guys have seen the testing or not, but with the wedges, these balls are really good to stop on the green. The course we're playing at is really tough to get the balls to stop like that, but I'm actually really impressed with that. And we're playing in a really windy day, and to see the ball flight continue to stay straight was really impressive.
I know you always know the wind. What are we talking?
We're talking about at least 15 to 20 miles an hour. I check every time I go out there.
5-foot swells also in the sea out there.
You can see behind us.
Out there in the coast, 5-foot swells, just so you know. He's our meteorologist of our team here, so anytime we play golf, he knows the wind conditions for sure. So, but overall, AVX held up very well. Really, really pleased with the golf ball. We have some more testing that we're going to continue to do in the simulator as well, and you've seen some of that also. But hopefully, we'll be using this golf ball for a long time. See, we're also going to do a durability test and the simulator to see how long it holds up with repetitive shots as well, see if we get any cracking of any golf balls. But we're very, very pleased with the brand new Titleist AVX. Anything else?
That'll be all.
We had a great time doing it. Until the next time we see you guys, as always, keep on golfing. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks again.